And we're live once again, and hopefully I can go live over here too. If not, we'll go live in a second over there. That's fine. Hello and welcome to Plate Stack Chat. We are back for another year. My name is still Jason. This is still a show supported by Strivey, and I'm still bringing on wonderful guests for a fun, relaxed chat around the virtual Plate Stack. And what better way to kick off the show in 2026 than with someone who had an incredible 2025. So we are expecting even more from them this year. You might have seen her doing a High Rocks in Glasgow, the Open in Germany, or maybe when she took to the floor at the CrossFit Games or picked up a pro card at the WFP. And if you missed all of that, don't worry because she's here now. It is, of course, the fantastic Jennifer Muir.
Hey.
Jen, welcome. Oh, I
Thank
am live.
you.
Okay. And now I'm checking if it's gone live on thing. Did I just end the video? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know what's happening over there. I hate Instagram. YouTube is better, everybody.
I just got a notification saying you've started a live, so I think you're good.
We've started it live. Oh, have you? That's nice that you get my notifications, and that fills me with a certain sense of pride. So I'm going to start with a really tough question. I think this is a tough question. What was the best thing of 2025?
Oh, I mean, yeah, that is a tough question. Honestly, I think obviously qualifying for the games was the best thing of 2025. I think it's just been like a goal that I've had since I started the sport. So for something so long that you kind of set for yourself to kind of come to fruition, then yeah, I think it's got to be qualifying for the games. And I think like even like the way it happened, having done it through online semis, was just so good as well because I got to do it at like my home gym with the owner of the gym and then my partner Fraser. So yeah, I think the way it happened was just like a dream.
Yeah, which it's kind of funny because you think a lot of people. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just thinking. There's something about a whole an arena and a crowd of people, and you qualifying and them calling your name and like, and they feel like, oh, that's me qualifying. But for you, it's more kind of more heartfelt. Of like, no, it's a bit more intimate. But it's the people that I know, that I see on the regular, that I really care about. They're the ones that got to enjoy like watching me do the workouts, watching me qualify. And the rest of you can just watch me
Yeah.
at the games. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just like they're the people who see how much is going into it, like they're the people that are with you day in and day out. Like spent more time like I probably spend more time with Alan, the owner, than I do like Fraser. So because I'm in here all day every day. So like yeah, I think it's really it was really special that they got to see that and got to be a part of that for me as well.
Yeah. And I guess they're also the ones that not only see you, throughout the season, but they've seen you the other times when you've gotten so close. When,
Yeah.
your name came up a lot I would say maybe the last 2 seasons before this one that you qualified. Quite often, when they were talking about who could it be, who could, kind of get their ticket, make that first trip to the games. And your name was often in that discussion. And to finally, you say, finally realize that. But those people that have been with you, yes, for these incredible highs, but they will have been with you the times where you've just missed out. So
Yeah.
it is nice. Oh, Nigel's back in the chat. It's been great watching you this season. Hi, Jason. I think he's saying it's been great watching you this season, Jen, not me. And
I'm sure
he's
you've
got
had a great season.
have I had a great season? I don't know. Yeah, this season's looking pretty great, but last season I got to enjoy watching people like yourself. Actually, one of my favorite moments was obviously the squats at the
Thanks.
games.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was one of your favorite moments too. And I was in the live chat, and there were people that were like, oh, this athlete, that athlete, and I was just thinking, oh, just you wait. Just you wait. This is Jennifer. I actually flashed back to Sid Origins and you doing all the squats and that final workout because Ellie didn't want to do any of them.
Yeah, I like squats. I hadn't actually done any like back squats or front squats at all since like honestly February of that like last year, because I'd been dealing with like patella tendonitis. So I had always said to my coach, like, a back squat's my dream. Like if a back squat comes up, like I would be like over the moon. And then obviously got announced at like my first ever games, and I was like, oh my god, you cannot write this. But I hadn't been doing any squats, so we
Yeah.
actually had dinner with Hiller before the games at the Adidas kind of meet, and he was like, "Oh, what's your predictions for the back squat?" And Fraser like lamped me in it, and he was like, "Oh, I think Jem will do really well." And I was like, "I haven't done a back squat since February. Like, please don't put my name in this." And then I actually ended up hitting an 11 kilo PB.
Oh, really? See, sometimes you
Yeah.
need to
So,
rest the muscles. That's what it is. Sometimes you
well,
come back
yeah,
after a little
clearly,
rest and you do really well. So if I
yeah,
was you, probably just stop back squatting for a while now and then have
yeah,
another go in a few months. Um,
yeah,
you mentioned the Adidas thing. How's that going? So you did the Open in Germany. I mean, what was
yeah.
that like?
Oh, it was incredible. Like obviously getting to do it around like athletes that you look up to. And then now I'm like kind of a part of like the Adidas family alongside them. Is really cool. The Adidas team is probably like it is the best team I've ever been part of. I'm just so grateful to be part of it. They couldn't be better. Like
Yeah.
love the brand. The staff are amazing. Like they couldn't treat you better as an athlete. I'm just really lucky to be part of it.
How much has that relationship sort of changed things for you, like going ahead now? Because obviously that's a big brand to be partnered with. And and obviously like opportunities like going to the headquarters in Germany and doing the Open, that's great for the optics, and as you said, like to be with those athletes. And I just also wanted to mention, like, do you view yourself now, when you're saying like going with those people that I've looked up to, are you starting to see yourself now as one of those people? Do you realize that there are like girls that are doing CrossFit now looking at you being like, oh, I want a back squat like Jen Muir, and now I know what I need to do is take months and months off, and that's how I'll get a 11 kilo PB.
Yeah,
Um,
just need to never back squat. Yeah.
yeah,
No. Yeah, I think it's still difficult. Like I do still talk about the athletes at the top of the sport as like the athletes at the top of the sport, and then my friends very much will be like, that's you, and I'm like, no. So it's difficult, but yeah, in terms of like all the opportunities that I've had through like Adidas this year, so obviously like the going to the HQ in Germany, and then I got to do my first ever affix with Ella. We did that as a pair through Adidas, which was awesome. We also did High Rocks
yep,
representing Adidas. So we did that at Glasgow as a pair. And then we also got to go to the World Championships in Chicago. And then we also were on an AFIX camp in Tenerife. So it's just opened up so many opportunities and different
yeah.
avenues as well, like High Rocks and AFIX. So yeah, it's been really cool.
Does that make it feel colder now that you're sat back at home with your big jacket because it's so cold, and you're like, oh, this year I've been all over the world, lots of nice exotic places, and now reality comes crashing
Yeah.
down that it's cold up here. Yeah. No,
Yeah, these the winter in Scotland is hell. Like it really is hell. From like November to March, it's just horrific if I'm honest. Like I love home and I love my gym, but it's hell. So yeah, I'm counting down the days till the lighter months and the warmer weather.
yeah. But then you'll be jetting off again, and so it won't matter. Oh, these are the serious
Yeah.
questions coming in now. How deep is the snow?
So it's actually too where I am in Glasgow. It's too dry, which really means it's too cold to snow.
Oh, there you go.
So there is no snow. It's just ice. There's
Right.
ice everywhere. So yeah.
New question. How slippery is the ice?
Yeah, pretty slippy. Pretty bad.
Yeah. No, but it's good. It builds character. That's what they say, isn't it? So, it's good training for you. I mean, does it affect your training much then, the weather? Because obviously, you know, I don't know what your gym's like with regards to kind of how cold it gets in there, or what they're doing with like space heaters and things like that, or if you're doing in the summer maybe you're doing more like track sessions and stuff like this. But how much is that bad weather affecting your training, or are you anyway kind of enjoying a bit of downtime at the moment?
So I've actually had to start training at another gym because it is that bad. So yeah, I've actually had to start
This is not a
going to
good
my
ad for
sister's
your
gym.
gym, by the way. You're saying you love your gym, you
Yeah.
love your gym. We said it's hell and I train somewhere else. Like, that's what we're taking away from
I
this.
know. Yeah, yeah. It's fine if you're like, see if you remember, you come in, you're doing an hour, you're back out again, fine.
Yeah.
But because I'm here like all day, I just can't ever heat up. So like when I start workouts, and then because obviously the blood then needs to go to where it needs to go, it comes away from like your hands and your feet. So like for CrossFit, you can't grip the bar, you can't grip the gymnastics rig, you can't grip the rope, dumbbells. It's honestly, you actually can't train in it. It's that cold. So yeah.
Okay. And yeah, you qualified for the games. So there you go. You see, you don't need to back squat. You don't need to train in the winter. It's interesting. Your approach has been, it's definitely unique, Jen. It's definitely a
Yeah.
unique take. No, but that's fantastic. Like you mentioned Chicago. You mentioned just these opportunities that you've had for Adidas. You were at Wadapalooza as well. Was that linked to that, or that was just a separate thing? You've been all over this last year. It's hard to keep track, but
Yeah. I know, and to be honest, this year looks like it's going to be the same as well. But yeah, it was Waterpalooza was separate. Like I went there myself, but when we got there, like Adidas had done such a big, they put on like an athlete hotel for us. So you had like oh, what are they called? Like kind of like big go karts. They would literally take you
yeah,
from like the Adidas hotel to the venue. And then in that hotel there was like recovery room, you had all your food, you had like limited beverages, you had like Normatec boots, you had a massage person there. It was just incredible. Like it was just kitted out fully. And then they also like partnered with like CrossFit Miami, so that when we got there, like all the Adidas athletes were like plastered on the wall outside. So like before I'd even got there, people were like sending me photos of me outside at the gym, and it's just the coolest thing ever. Like they really do go above and beyond for their athletes.
yeah. So now when people are telling you like, Jen, you do realize you are those athletes. You are that top of the sport level athlete. Like, do
Oh.
those moments not reinforce that idea a little bit for you?
Yeah, I mean, you do like when you see stuff like that, you do have like a moment
Yeah.
of like, wow, this is really cool. But then I
Yeah.
forget. So then I go
I mean,
back to telling myself, no.
yeah. So I went to an event recently and they'd made a t-shirt with my name on it. And that for me was like, oh, I cannot believe anyone would go to these lengths to print a t-shirt with my name on it. And
Oh.
that's like nothing in comparison to what you're getting. Like, so it's just normal for them to put a massive poster of me on the wall somewhere and chauffeur me around from the hotel to the venue. I, I mean, this is how do I say this in a nice way? Um, Obviously, these are, you've okay. First and foremost, because you've earned these opportunities. Adidas didn't just like drop into a gym and do a raffle and say, okay, we're going to sponsor like these 10 people and great, right? So like you've put in a lot of hard work over time. I've known you for a few years now. We've bumped into each other at different events and stuff. Thanks, Nigel. Look out in February, Jason. We'll look after you. I'm actually competing, Jen. Can you believe it? I'm going to an event not to do media. Well, I'll do some media, but not to do media, to actually take on the workouts. Can't believe it.
Like a CrossFit
Adidas.
event.
Yeah, it's Adaptive. Do you know Adaptive? The pairs
Oh, nice.
adaptive able-bodied one. So Nigel has wrote me into that, and I'm almost ready. I'm almost ready.
When is it?
It's in February. I want to say it's the 15th, if I'm not wrong, off the top of my head. I think that should be
Oh,
right.
nice.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out for how you get
keep
on.
keep an eye out for how I get on
I
with the
will.
the. I think maybe the third workout is dropping later today. The first two, third one is ready for you. Oh no. So the first two have come out so far, and they're pretty. One's got a lot of kettlebell clusters in it, so
Okay.
it's never a fun movement to do. And then the second one I quite like because it's got wall walks and deadlifts that are two of my preferred movements.
Okay,
But it's one of
great.
those where you look at it and you're like, yeah, like in isolation, that's probably a great workout. But combined with what you've just done, knowing what you've got coming up, it's like, yeah. And I'm not used to that.
Yeah, probably
I
write you off.
train an hour a day. I go to the box, whatever the programming is that like, and I say I train an hour a day. That's not even true. I go to the affiliate for an hour. So there's,
Yeah.
briefing around the whiteboard, there's the warm up, there's the cool down, and there's like, you know, a few, well, yesterday was a long
The
one. Yesterday,
10-minute
I think it was like,
AMRAPs.
yeah, well, that usually it's that. Yesterday it was, I posted a video about this. So yesterday we had 4 rounds for time, 800-meter run, 60 air squats. And the time cap was quite generous. So they were like, oh,
Okay.
some people have been finishing it around 25, 25 minutes, some people 35 minutes. So it's all like that. And then Hannah was like, so if you finish it in under 25 minutes, guess what? You do another round.
Oh no.
So I ended up doing 5 rounds of 860 air squats. And
There's a
the
lot of
run was
squats.
fine. The run was fine because you couldn't run fast enough to be like out of breath because your legs
Yeah.
just hurt so much from the squats. But and I've been moaning about it all day today. And it was dark and late. It's like I got 8 p.m. It's dark, it's cold, it's miserable. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's it. We're not talking about me, Jen. We're talking about you. I didn't bring in games athletes to talk about my very mediocre fitness. The detour that all of this came from is, as I was saying, is like you've demonstrated more than mediocre fitness. Like you've demonstrated your dedication to the sport. You've applied yourself, you've trained, you've gone to all these smaller comps, you've paid your way to go to bigger competitions to kind of get experience, get people to see you. Now you get some of these bigger brands involved, and yes, going to events is a very different experience. But as I say, you have paid your way to get to this point. But now you're in this position, like going ahead. Obviously, you have obligations to them, and you said this year is looking like it's going to be just as busy. But when you think about potentially qualifying for the CrossFit Games another time, the things you've got going on with WFP, how much easier does it feel, or how much more achievable do these things feel because of the other stresses that have been sort of taken out of your hands than you had in previous seasons because of these kind of relationships? Does that make any sense, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think like before, I guess like it kind of is all like scale relative. So like when I was working full time as a coach, I was obviously paying to go to competitions that were like within the UK and Europe. So I could afford to do that because they were in the UK and Europe. But now I have to go to like America and things like that, and like that's not covered. Like travel isn't covered, so that comes out of like your living wage, your monthly wage.
Yeah.
But I'm able to do that now because I can focus on just training. So like I don't coach full time anymore. I just coach once, twice a week type thing. So yeah, it gives me more time to be able to, like, if I say for example I do need to pick up a couple more shifts because I know I'm going to America, then I've got like the time and the flexibility to do that now, as
Right.
opposed to like working a full-time job and training, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think of people like Elisa Fuliano, who was working full time and training in the corner of the gym when she could until she made it to the games. And like for
Yeah,
her, making it to the games changed everything because
yeah.
suddenly she could, and now, she is a name that isn't surprising to see going back to the games or qualifying for big events. now may be surprising because she's I don't think she's trying to qualify, but you know what I mean. Like she got into that very quickly, became a name that you were like, oh yeah, I expect her to excel if she's doing an event. Um,
Yeah,
and a lot of
I
that
guess
came from, as you said, freeing up those other obligations. Yeah. Sorry, I can't
yeah.
interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, I guess I would like, because I kind of thought the same would happen for me. Like when I made the games, I kind of thought like more opportunities and stuff would come, and maybe like yeah, more brands and stuff. But it actually hasn't. But I guess from being like a kind of bubble athlete the past 2 years, and the only 2 years that I have done it, like semi-finals 2023, 2024, I guess I was quite lucky that I was picked up then
Mhm.
to get to the games. But yeah, since making the games, it's not really changed at all.
Oh. Did you get a big boost like on Instagram or followers, things like that from being at the games?
Yeah, I think it went up um a bit, not like
Yeah.
massively. You know how like back in the day, like Brooke Wells has like 1 million followers from
Mm.
being obviously involved in CrossFit, like from like
Yeah.
back in the day. Yeah, nothing like that anymore.
No, but I think it's hard to hit those numbers now in general, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
and I, hmm, I actually won't go. And also like, I don't think it mattered as much what people posted back then. Like, it was, they
yeah,
just
probably
followed the
not.
people. Whereas you think about like some of the stuff athletes are posting now, like, you think ones like Jason, Dallin, Ariel, like they clearly think so much about what they post. So they're having to, almost work just as hard on their social media. It's not just, oh, you made it to the games. Suddenly everyone's following you and they're going to stick around. Like even those people are now kind
Yeah,
of expecting something from you. It's like, well, if I'm following you, I should be getting, value for my follow, which cost me nothing, but I should
yeah,
be getting something from it. And it's, and I suppose we're adding names, right? So the more new athletes that come on, you're like, oh, okay, that's someone else I need to think about following, or I need to kind of be worried about. But I'm not unfollowing the other athletes because
yeah,
you've
true.
already kind of
Yeah,
got your, people aren't being like, well, Rich doesn't, go to the games anymore. I'll unfollow him. It's like, no, you're joking.
yeah,
Like, I still want to know what Rich Froning is doing. That's crazy, kind of that idea. So yeah, I suppose it's more what I also like. I don't know. It's funny. I was interviewing someone like at our local affiliate, and I was asking them. Um, we were talking about the Open coming up, and they sort of were saying about how the Open is, a great opportunity for them because it's the only time they're going to be like on the same leaderboard as these other athletes that are like these kind of incredible athletes. And I was really curious by who he meant was an incredible athlete because I used to, I've heard people say this for years, talking of like, it's the only time I'm doing the same workout as Matt Fraser. It's the only time I'm doing the same workout as, as Rich Froning, whatever. But he was just talking about like the best athletes at our gym, like the coaches and
oh,
things like that,
that's
those that have
awesome
gone
though.
to those that have gone to semifinals, because that for him, like CrossFit Bath, that is CrossFit. It sort of doesn't
Yeah,
extend beyond that. And so those athletes, like some of them were in Copenhagen, they went to they competed on a team at WFP. Like that's who he means. And I
yeah,
think there is a big portion of people that are that, like that is CrossFit for them, right? It's just, which is great because I think you've got those people as well for you because, as you said, like qualifying online, doing it at your home gym, you're still heavily involved on the local level, if that makes sense.
yeah. I love that. Like I only got social media when I started CrossFit, but if I could just live in my own wee bubble, I would.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really cool.
Let's go for a serious question now. Nigel asking, how do you manage the mental pressure on the competition floor during grueling events? Yeah, I'll accept those tips as well. Actually, that'll be useful for adaptive.
What do you mean by like the mental pressure? Do you mean like how I cope with how difficult the workout is?
All right. Well, I'm reading his question, so I don't know how much how much detail I can give you on this, Jen. But I'm assuming he means grueling events on the competition floor. I don't know. Workout. We understand it's the workout. I guess it's just the pressure at the higher, at those highest level competitions. Like, your physical fitness is all well and good, right? You've got that. You train that throughout the year. We know what you're doing there. Mentally, to be able to attack those workouts, knowing that there's a lot on the line. Sometimes there's qualifying spots on the line. Sometimes there's, opportunities for the following season on the line. Sometimes it's just prize money. Like, with all of that pressure and then having to hit, a pretty tough workout, how do you mentally, like, kind of balance that, I guess, is what I'm going to assume is the question.
Well, I think what I said earlier was like I kind of put a lot of pressure on, like, if I make the games, then like my life will become like this, and like my life will change like this, and it didn't. So I think, like, from that, I've just been like, all I can do is my best. Like, the workouts are grueling, but they're not. They're grueling because that's the level we're all at. So we're all used to those kind of grueling workouts. We train it. We do those grueling workouts every week. So I think now, just kind of having the mindset of like, you can only do your best, and if it doesn't work out, like, nothing in your life actually changes. Like, you still have your family, you still have your friends. Nothing actually changes from this, and you just try again.
Yeah.
And I think, like, from having that mindset, it just kind of it's taking the pressure off it, because, like, as I said, I put so much kind of pressure on, like, if I make it, then this will happen, and it didn't. So, and I think that's obviously, like, taught me as well, is like, if you're like, you need to enjoy it, and you can't keep like wishing for the next best thing, and expecting the next best thing to kind of provide you this outcome, which it might not. So yeah, instead of like looking for that outcome, you kind of just need to be happy and enjoy what you're doing. And like, as long as you're happy with that continuing, then yeah.
Yeah, that sounds very healthy, Jen. That really sounds
Thank
like
you.
a very healthy outlook to have.
Yeah,
Um,
and a
it's
healthy
in
part
it's
of my life.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's something linked to the fact that you didn't have social media until you started doing CrossFit. So maybe
Yeah.
that's helped you somehow. But I think it's interesting, the idea that you put so much into. Um, it's funny because we often do it the other way, right? We're quite negative what ifs. We're like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? And we can spiral very quickly about, like, all these terrible things that will happen that never happen. For you, it seemed it was almost
Yeah.
the opposite, where you were kind of like, oh, I'm going to do this, and suddenly, like, everything's going to change. That didn't happen. But what's interesting is that could have then, you could have reacted to that in a very different way, right? Like, oh, I've put in all of
Yeah.
this time,
Yeah.
all of this energy. I've done everything within my power. I've even made it, I finally made it to the games. And what, my life's still the same? Like, how? That's not fair. And then, you could have taken that bad. You haven't. Well done. That's good.
Thanks.
That's good. But
Yeah, I think I enjoy my life, and I enjoy what I get to do. So, and I'm also very aware that, like, it's going to be such a short-lived period of my life. Like, because I started this like 22, 26 now. So, maybe like another 6 years, maybe max, in the sport. And then, like, that's so little time, like, in the grand scheme of your life. So, yeah, I'm just trying to, like, and I did do all the negative what ifs, like, when,
mhm.
in 2024, I was like, if I don't make it, then, nothing changes, and like, blah, blah. And then, yeah, and like, you're like, oh, my sponsors won't renew my contract and stuff like that. And you do, like, I have done all those negative what ifs, and then like, obviously the positive what ifs come from, like, if you make it, but like, they're also, I guess, kind of negative, because you're like, if I make it, this will happen for me and this will happen for me,
Mhm.
instead of looking at like what you've got right now. Um, and then obviously I did make it, and none of that actually happened. So
Yeah. Did anything happen that you hadn't anticipated? So, like, you had thought, you had ideas that, oh, maybe this would happen, maybe that would happen, things could change. Did anything happen that sort of surprised you, that you weren't expecting, that came from either making it to the games or now, getting your pro card, or any kind of these big, or, going to Chicago? I don't know. You've done some massive things this year. Has anything come from that that, like, you completely unexpected? You had no idea that these things could lead to this.
no, not really. Nothing like unexpected. I think like looking back on the year though, there was so much that I did that I didn't really understand why I'd done it at the time, but now like looking back on it, obviously like it works out. So like for example, I really badly injured my foot during the first WFP qualifiers, and that meant that I went into the challenger division. And I remember at the time thinking like I'd kind of like mathematically worked out the point system. And I remember at the time being like, there's no point in me doing this. Like, you needed to have made pro twice to basically get a pro card for next season.
Hmm.
Um, but then obviously what you can anticipate is what everybody else does. So, like, my coach at the time was like, I think it's a really good idea. You just stick with it, because at that point I hadn't made the games either. So he was like, if you obviously don't make the games, then your season's kind of done from like April, May time. So he was like, I think it's a good idea, like that you still stick with it. And then obviously I'm really glad that I did stick with it. And then same with the, like when I did Wadland, I actually did Wadland, which was like a semi-final qualifier to the games. But I remember when the workouts got released, I was like, there's no way I make top two to go to the games. There's just no way. There was like strict handstand push-ups and everything that wouldn't get me a top two placing. And also Wadland was like week one of three back-to-back competing weekends. So like if you were to drop any weekend, you would have dropped Wadland.
Hmm.
But I remember I had paid like my entry fee, which I don't think people realise is like £400. And then you had paid my flights and I'd paid my accommodation, and so had my family. They had paid their flights and accommodation. And I was like, well, can't back out now. Like I'm going
I
to do
know.
it anyway.
Yeah, get your
But
money's worth.
well, yeah, I was like, I gotta go have a weekend in Malaga. Like I'll have fun doing it, might as well. Um, but Heavy Isabel had obviously been announced, and I hadn't done a snatch since again like February because patella tendonitis. Like I hadn't done a squat snatch, and it was far too heavy at the time for me to power. Like I couldn't have powered 70 30 times. So I
Mhm.
was in the gym on like the Wednesday night. I flew on the next day, and I was practicing everything. And I remember I'd seen Fikowski doing a split clean at FitFest, and I was like, I'm just going to try and do a split snatch and see if I can do this. And the only way I could do a split snatch was like starting with my feet in like this really narrow stance to allow my feet to get out into the split quicker. So did Wadland, split snatched all 30 snatches, and then flew home from Wadland on the Monday. And on the Monday night, the semi-final online workouts get released, and Heavy Isabel comes up again. And I was like, right, if I am gonna go to if I'm gonna have any chance of qualifying for the games, like I need to do this quicker, because I'd finished Heavy Isabel with like 5 seconds to spare to the time cap. And obviously girls were doing it in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And the time cap was like 9 minutes. So I went back in the gym and I tried the ridiculously narrow stance to learn how to do power snatches with 70 kilos. And it worked. And I ended up taking like 3.5 minutes off my Heavy Isabel time, which got me to the games. So it's funny how like back at the start there was so many things that I was like, like why would I have done Woodland of like week 1 out of 3 back to back, and like, yeah, why would I have continued with the WFP season when I'd qualified like so low down because of my foot? And it's funny how all of that kind of worked out at the end, but at the time I never would have thought it would have led to what it did.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? Like this, you can do those kind of, oh, if I just hadn't done this, like, because I feel like almost if we'd pulled one thread on all of those, like it feels like the whole house of cards would have just come down, right? Like
Yeah,
one,
literally, yeah, it's mad.
yeah, no, but what? And then I mean, going, and I have I think it was you that Rachel Hives. We were in. Oh, Jen, you've gone. Hope you're still there. Your name's still there. I can still hear you, but I can't see you, which makes me nervous. But
Oh, I can see you.
well, that's good. But people don't want to see me; they want to see you. That's the problem. But I was
I'll try.
in Lux. We were in Luxembourg for the Iron Showdown, and Rachel was. I think she had to split snatch for the workout, and she was saying, "Oh, it's because
Yes.
I watched Jennifer doing it." So you see,
Yeah.
the way you're
That
influencing
was
other
a
people.
yeah, that was really cool. I'm so glad that helped her as well. Because yeah, I remember feeling like an absolute idiot split snatching them during Bell at semi-finals, but it was the only way I was getting through that workout at that time. So I
Yeah,
mean, I had to do what I had to do, but that was really cool that that helped her off the back of it.
and it got you to the games. You know, that's
Well,
the
yeah,
important thing, right? Like if it
I
hadn't been for
learned
that,
from it. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I really don't like that I can't see you. It's making me very
Let
anxious.
me. I'll try to turn it off and on again. You
Yeah.
doing it?
No.
No. I can see me.
Gemma.
I don't know why you can't see me.
You can see me. Well, I can't see you, and I can see that you're also not appearing on the Instagram live as well. So now I see a circle. Oh, that circle came and went. It's fine, but you know what I don't like is I just think like, oh, now people can only look at me, and I don't like that. I really don't like that. But we'll persevere. At least have the circle there so people know you're here. Oh, you gone.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see if you come back at some point, but we can still hear you, which is nice. What was I going to say? I'm distracted by this. Okay, going ahead then this year. So, what can you tell us that you've got coming up? I imagine there's
I
certain
mean, I
things
think
you're planning that you can't tell us, but you know what? uh, the other day I sat down and I was like preparing my calendar and I was looking at different events and I was trying to like speak to different people and I'm trying to kind of work out where I need to be throughout the year. And I'm trying to do that all in January, which is crazy. Have you done a similar thing?
that I do still need to do because the game season has honestly, my head's fried with it. I think we can do any semi final anywhere, but you obviously have to do the individual qualifiers for each semi final. So I kind of need to sit down and like plan out when the qualifier dates are for each semi final, when each semi final actually is, and then work that around the WFP season. And then also, me and Ella would like to go back to High Rocks Worlds again. So we want to try and get High Rocks somewhere in there. Probably end up doing an affix at some point in there as well. So yeah, it's just going to be very busy again, but I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing yet.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to take some of that conversation off air because I've got some ideas about affects and some ideas about high rocks. And now that I know that you're looking into both of those things, I might speak to you about it. And
Okay.
because I have some ideas of stuff I'd like to kind of film there or do at those events. And if only I knew, high elite level athletes that were going to be there, that would be really convenient. So okay, good to know. Good to
Well,
know you're going back for
yeah.
that. Um, obviously you've got how was it getting your pro card? How, I mean, that feels like a different experience to kind of winning an event or qualifying for an event, because it's sort of impacting your whole season. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Uh, uh, y-
it's like obviously I think it's a really nice kind of like conclusion of the work you've done all year, because you've done like 3 events by that point, but
Yeah.
you know, to get the pro card. And then again, yeah, just looking back to like the how it very like started, I won the challenger division at WFP, which was great. I had a great weekend, but I never again even winning the challenger division, you have less points than the last place pro. So it was such an like a uphill climb for me the entire time. And then qualified pro for the second tour, but that second tour was like 2 weeks after the games. So like you're not really going to compete to your best ability,
Mm.
being that kind of fatigued, and especially as someone from the UK who's traveling to America twice in the same month. So it was a lot. So it was a really nice conclusion. Like all this hard work has kind of got me here, and then I was really lucky with the final that there was like 2 swimming events, because that helped me massively.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was super super happy when that came out.
Yes. Yeah. I did see that. I saw your reaction to that as well, which was nice. Um, you mentioned like obviously traveling from the UK. How is it like? How does it feel to be doing all of this with so many other athletes from the UK? You know,
Oh, it's
it used to be
awesome.
like you
Yeah,
see someone from the UK, and that was kind of like, oh look, there's that one representative from the UK on this competition floor. And
yeah.
now like there's a few of you, and you're you know you're making big splashes everywhere you go, like all of you. So how's that?
Yeah, I mean, it's so nice, like having another 3 UK girls there. We keep saying we're going to do a high rocks relay together, but we've not got
Mm,
round to it. Um, but yeah, it's really cool. Like, it's obviously nice to have familiar faces at every kind of competition with you. And I think, like, from being in the UK as well, they kind of understand, like, the UK, like travel to America and how that affects you as an athlete. And, um, yeah, just everything like that. It's really nice to have them, and it's cool that we could go. Like we're not all that far away from one another. It's funny because in the UK we're like a different country away from one another, and like that's so far. But in reality, it's only like a 3 hour drive. And then when we tell that to like our American friends, they're like, "Oh, you guys are so close," and we're like, "No, we're
yeah,
miles away." But yeah, I think we need to
yeah.
like change our perspective on it.
It is amazing. And it's amazing how quickly you adapt, and then how quickly you adapt back as well.
Yeah.
I've lived places, yeah, where you had to like travel a bit, and it was like that was just so normal. And then you get really comfortable with everything being 10 minutes away. And
Yeah.
then someone's like, "Oh,
I'm
you need to
too
go here." It's like, "How
comfortable with
far is
that.
that?" 40 minutes. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm too comfortable with that at home. Like, yeah, if my partner Fraser, his family live like an hour and a half away. And when
Oh,
he's
that's so
like,
far.
oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, no, that's far. We can't go that far. Like, yeah, I'm too comfortable for everything being 10 minutes away.
Yeah. I mean, I think my mum is like, to be honest, always say she's an hour away. To be honest, it's less. It's probably like 50 minutes,
Yeah.
45 on a good day with no traffic. And I mean, any American would think I'm like the worst son for how
Yeah.
little I take not only myself, but also my children, her only grandchildren, down to see her. But we were there the other weekend, but it's like, oh, because we're all off. There was like, oh,
Yeah.
everybody's off school, everybody's on holiday. Oh, okay, we can go and do a family trip and head on all the way down to see my mum, 50 minutes away.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, well, but at least we can walk places. That's the other. That was the thing that shocked me in Florida, was just you couldn't walk anywhere. Like nowhere was
Yeah.
set up for like. I'm like, how far away is it? I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, that's like a 25-minute walk. I'll walk that. What? No way. You can't. What do you mean you can't? Like, no, no, no. And I did do like the last day because I had to get out of my Airbnb, and I didn't have a flight until later, and I was just kind of trying to kill time. Someone had recommended somewhere for brunch, and it was like 40-minute walk. I was like, oh, I'll do
Yeah.
that. It was excruciating to do. It was way too hot. But also, like, the number of times I was out on a road, I was like, oh, there is no way to get across this road. That's just like,
Yeah. Yeah, there's like no crossing bits.
yeah. Anyway, I shouldn't complain. It was lovely. It was very nice to be out there. But yeah, okay. You know this. You're a well-traveled woman now. So well-traveled.
Yeah. I remember
Uh,
when you used to speak to people for work and they would be like, you know, if they traveled for work and they'd be like, oh, it's not that glamorous. Like I see the airport and then I see the conference room and then I see the airport. And I'd be like, no, like that is so, like that's so cool. You get to do that. And now that I see an airport and then an arena and then an airport, I'm like, oh, I kind of finally understand.
yeah. Yeah. I just got back from Milan. So, and someone was like, oh, where were you? I was like, oh, Milan. I was like, but to be honest, I could have been anywhere because I got picked
Yeah.
up. I got picked up from the airport, taken to the hotel. I got driven from the hotel to the arena every day. And then I got a taxi from the venue to the airport to go home. And that was
Yeah.
like my whole time there. And Florida, I was there for like 3 days, not even that. And the airport the airport in Florida was just like, here's all the incredible things in Florida you didn't see.
Yeah.
And there's like a
Yeah.
Disney store and a SeaWorld store and a Universal store and just all of these places. I was like, wow, I really didn't see any of this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, when you come home and people are like, "Oh, did you do this? Did you do this?" And I'm like, "No, I did CrossFit." They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you do CrossFit here?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Yeah. And trying to, if you, when you go through like customs or something, or, the passport control, and they're like, why are you here? And you've
Yeah.
got to say, oh, and I'm like, oh, there's a CrossFit competition. They're like, there's a what? I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what to tell you, but that's why I'm here. Oh, wonderful. Well, it's been nice catching up. I'm glad I'm glad you've had like an incredible year, because
Yeah,
I
thank
think
you.
you have a list of it. We were listing a few of them off. So I think we've touched on all of them. Let me check your Instagram post where you put up all the incredible things you did, um, and see if I've missed anything. Have I missed anything? I mean, I asked you what the best thing of the year was, and you. So we've had Waterpalooza. We've mentioned that. We've mentioned the Open in Germany. We've mentioned High Rocks. We've mentioned Wadland. Um, we've mentioned the WFP tour. We've mentioned Chicago. We've mentioned the games. Yeah. Oh, hybrid games. You did that as well.
I did. I did. Did hybrid games too.
Yeah. Oh, we've mentioned affect. Oh, we didn't talk about Proving Grounds in Glasgow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There
Did
you
proving
go.
grounds of Ella.
Yeah, because somebody mentioned that to me recently.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they said um, how, I can't think how they worded it, but it was something about someone like you who is, even if you don't accept it, is in that top end of athletes, and how great it is to see that you are going to events like Proving Ground. Like that was sort of you know their idea, that like it was amazing for them to see you there. Um, oh, the
Oh,
level
that's
two in
so nice.
you were level 2 at CrossFit Glasgow.
I did. I did. I did my level two too. Oh, and I also
Wonderful.
did the IF3 teams in Lithuania.
I've literally just turned to that as well. IF3 teams in Lithuania. Yeah. How was that? How do you find the IF3, the format of like your fixed tests? Does that work well for you?
I'm not really too sure because I've not done it individually, but as a team,
Mm,
like we had a great time. Like,
yeah.
I think like that's something I've not got to do in a long time was just kind of do a comp with three other Scottish people because they're Scottish and go and have fun. It was just incredible. Like those three other people are like really good friends of mine, so it was just like getting to do a weekend away with your friends. Whereas now, obviously, if I was to do a team, it's kind of the team's picked on like ability. So it's like if you're
Yeah.
going, and then you're going to like perform as best as you can, really, with the events that come up and the individuals who are doing them. But that was like because it was Team Scotland. you just got to do it with like three of your other friends. So we had such a good weekend.
Yeah, and one of your teammates is a pilot now, so they'll be able to fly you anywhere you need to go. So that's convenient as well, right? So
Well,
that's
I think she's got a long haul of training to do, so it might be
no.
2 years yet. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm
But
counting
by
on it.
then you'll be like a high enough level athlete that you can afford the private jet that she will be flying for you. So that'll be nice. Um, no,
I wish.
that's funny because I was at the Super Worlds in Budapest, and that was when like they were first talking about splitting because that had the like British team, and
Yeah, of course.
they were talking about splitting that and having a Scottish team and an English team. Um, so it's nice that that kind of all worked out, and then you had that experience. And then this year, if I'm not wrong, they're doing the age group ones. So I think it's the masters and the teens, if I'm not wrong, which will be held in Bath. So, very
Oh,
convenient for
nice.
me. Just literally down the road to I think it's going to be at the I assume it's going to be at the university. It's the only place I think big
Yeah.
enough to hold that. So I've already been speaking a little bit with the BF3 about that. So that'll be nice. But yeah, I think it's another interesting format. I was just curious because obviously you've competed at, you've done the WFP stuff, you've done the games stuff, you've done lots of, you've done the hybrid stuff, you've done affects and all of this.
Yeah.
But the IF3 having this very sort of, we test endurance, we test power, we test strength, like in the way they do it. Although I think that is more noticeable as an individual athlete. Um, I think
Yeah,
the
I'm not
team
sure how
competition
I would.
blends it a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I would enjoy it as an individual, just because I've never done it. I'm not sure how that would go for me. But yeah, as a team, we had a great time. Like if I can do it again this year with the same team, I would 100%.
Yeah. Be careful what you say. People can clip this. They're going to hold you to that now. So you better be ready.
No, I genuinely would. I think it
Genuinely
was
would.
honestly the most I've laughed all year was that weekend. We honestly, it was so much fun.
Was there less pressure? Going
Yeah.
back going back to
Yeah.
Nigel's previous comment about mental pressure at events, do you think that maybe like is it good for you? Okay, we'll finish on this then. Um, I know some athletes obviously they want to you've got a finite amount. You've already mentioned like I've only got so many years in this sport. We all know that there's kind of a cap on how much you can put your body through and still be
Yeah.
elite and competitive. So there are people who say, look, I can only do, because every competition is, time that I'm not training. It's time I'm having to be in competition mode versus in training mode. It's travel, it's this, it's that. So I'm going to be super selective and I'm only going to do those that will benefit me, that will give me kind of um, a chance to go against other, the top names, to see how I stack up, to see what I need to work on, so on and so forth. But do you think there is some value in saying, look, this is a competition that's not so far, I can travel to it easily, I get to do it with my friends, and I get to just have fun and enjoy competition without the added pressure and anxiety of it being, something that has I mean, you're an athlete, you always want to win, but you know what I mean? Like there's winning an event that is potentially life-changing, and there is winning an event that is, standing on a podium and getting some protein powder with your friends, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well,
Is there some benefit to throwing those kind of competitions in now and again?
2024 me would have said no because I,
Right.
I would have been in the middle of like a good training block and I wouldn't have wanted to disrupt that.
Yeah.
So 2024 me would have said no, but 2025, see, because I had had so much disruption already, and like the IF3 was like a week before Copenhagen, I was like, well, I'm not really. I'd just come back from, oh god, I can't even remember, but I'd just come back from somewhere as well. I only had like 2 weeks at home anyway. I wasn't going to get any significant training done in 2 weeks. So I was like, well, I might as well. Um, and yeah, it ended up being really fun, and it didn't affect. my WFP performance any like less than it would have if I'd just stayed at home for that one weekend.
Yeah.
Because I'd already been away so much anyway. So for 2026, it's funny, I don't really know what the answer is because I think every athlete in CrossFit has never had to experience this amount of competing yet. So I think we're all still trying to navigate it, and we're not entirely sure how it's going to pan out because I don't know if we can all continue to compete as much as we did in 2025. However, there are that many competitions again
Yeah.
for the season in 2026. So, yeah, I think my year is probably going to be very similar to last year. And then those like weekends away with your friends and having fun is absolutely fine to kind of fling in there with the amount of chaos that you're doing on top of that. But yeah, I think when you're in a really good training block, it is the last thing you want to add in because you just don't want to disrupt it. Um, but I haven't had like a training block all year
Yeah.
because every single month there's been at least one thing, if not two or
Yeah.
three things going on. So yeah, I was like,
But
well, why not?
it's working for you. You see, you're PBing back squats. You're doing like this is what you needed. This is the solution. Apparently,
Well,
it was funny.
yeah.
I think I was interviewing BKG at like the very beginning of the season, and he was sort of started listing off where he needs to be in different months and what
Uh,
like all the event, and I could just see it in real time as he's sort of realizing, no, hold on,
yeah.
my schedule
Yeah.
is like there's too much going on now. So that is true. I said that was going to be the last thing, but I've just quickly checked. We have event free of What Active. It's been released. The third workout for What Active, Takashi's Castle, 8-minute time cap, athlete A, one rope climb, then it's 20 wall balls split 50-50, athlete B, one rope climb, and then it's 18 wall balls, then again goes 16. So it's basically A, B alternating rope climbs with wall balls in between. That's fine. It's again, so far there hasn't come up anything that I can't do in these workouts. So that's
Well, that
that's my
workout
only.
sounds really fun.
Yeah, I don't really. I say I don't like wall balls, but I don't actually think that's true anymore. I think that's just like a
Oh,
mental thing from. I think it's a mental thing from when I started CrossFit. I absolutely hated wall balls, like,
okay.
and it was a movement and still I would like take a thruster over a wall ball because I had a problem with
Oh,
my
oh
shoulder and I had
no.
a problem with like almost the impact of having to catch the ball. Whereas the
Okay.
thruster kind of you didn't let go, you kept hold of it. But now actually we've done quite a lot of wall balls and it's not really a huge issue for me now. But I think mentally I'm just like, oh no, I hate wall balls. But maybe I don't actually hate them as much as other people do, if that makes sense.
No, I think that
Although
sounds a really good workout.
yeah, although I am short, so that's the other, that's always gonna be my excuse. But I,
Yeah.
I can't complain about that too much. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Jen. And I promise people, Jen, she is here, even if you can't see her. I promise she's still here. Um, Thank you so much. All the best on this season. Please stay in touch. Come back on after all the different incredible things you do. And I'm really hoping that we'll be able to meet up at some of these events and do some stuff together because that would be fun. And also, you always have a good crew of people with you as well, which is very nice. Uh, I will be back next week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. in the UK. So just, what's that, an hour and 45 minutes earlier than we went live today with Harry Keane and Adam Roth. It's going to be an AOD special. So make sure people come back for that as we're really, pumping up all these incredible athletes from the UK. So thank you again to Jen. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Nigel, for everything, including that horrible workout, that lovely workout that we've just discovered that we've got. So, and yeah, well,